Hi, I'm Pernigo. This is Cosmonarchy Artosis versus Aud64. Well, you've already seen the overlay on the bottom left, so this is HitEmUp. HitEmUp is Roland Terran, for the first time in a little bit that I've actually got a chance to see his TvP at a high level, no less, because Aud64 on the other side is the same player that took him to 7 games in Acropolis 3's Grand Final. And we're doing a little bit of a preview for all the players that are participating in the quarterfinals of Acropolis number 4. So I figured it would be a good idea to check these guys out. Now, we have seen HitEmUp's Protoss already versus Hamster. HitEmUp is, of course, the reigning champ. I don't mind double featuring him in the quarterfinal week, but also we haven't seen a chance to look at Aud, even though Aud's up against another a Protoss and Zerg player, and so this is not part of the matchups that he's going to see. This was just a really good match, judging by the head-to-head. So I really wanted to take a look at this game and bring it to you guys. So, yeah, I mean, I really don't need an excuse to cast Cosmonarchy Artosis, but you know, if actual Artosis, if Brood War Artosis plays Cosmonarchy, you guys will find out. You guys should subscribe to the channel so you know when that happens. Not that I think you necessarily even find out from me first. That being said, we got the yellow Terran in the bottom left, of course the Blood Protoss in the top right, and we're on Battle Spectre. This is a map that you are forcibly placed into a cross-spawn configuration in, which is pretty cool. And yeah, we're going to see what we get up to here. Obviously, it's Bio as an opener here, which is not as obvious. If you come in from StarCraft 1, you see Cosmonarchy Artosis. Obviously, if there's like a funny chat message or something, that should go in the thumbnail. But the stockades that we have here are the barracks equivalent. And if you're coming from StarCraft 1, you got to understand that in Cosmonarchy, you can just straight up open mech. You can just build a factory equivalent, the Fulcrum. If you want to, you don't have to make a barracks equivalent first. So that's important to know. Instead of doing anything like that, though, we do have the bio play coming out. This looks like a 2-stockade expand build, judging by what I'm seeing right now, but HitEmUp is a bit crafty with his build orders, and maybe he's going to do something a little bit different, because he is going to go ahead and put down a Cestus on one base. Is he mind-reading this dude? I don't think he saw the Rogue Gallery, because the Rogue Gallery does make the Dark Templar equivalent to Kabbalist. So if that's what yes, indeed, we do have that coming, as well as a Grand Library follow-up. This is all on one base for Aud. He's not opting for an expansion anytime soon. And HitEmUp is notoriously pretty greedy, and so I wonder if maybe they played a bunch of games. I don't know if he played Terran in all of those games, or if he was playing random and he just played whatever. But with the embassy coming, I wonder if this is going to be like a storm drop follow-up, or if he's just going to go ahead and make a witness in general. But the Cestus, providing this little glow across everything in its radius, it increases your armor if you're facing the target that's attacking you. So that's going to be a double 2 armor increase when that happens. Now, there has been a watchdog made. The missile turret equivalent is going to lift off, because all turret structures have lift off now. Add-ons don't, but they can be blown up at the very least automatically. And the watchdog is going to come in here and see what is going on. It's no longer a detector, by the way, but even if it were, it wouldn't actively detect while lifted. It's a neat little feature, just like it doesn't attack while lifted. Just like your bunker equivalent doesn't allow units to shoot out from it while lifted. So it's going to pop in here and see, okay, you went Gateway, Rogue Gallery, Grand Library, and indeed an Embassy. The vision range of the watchdog is pretty high, as you might imagine. Kabbalist does get saved by Aud, so he doesn't end up just getting nuked on the spot, which is good for him. He can now just kind of hang back and understand, okay, my opponent has gone for localized detection. I think the Cestus would have been revealed by the attackers, and it looks like we will have that expansion after all for both players, because as this ministry is put down by HitEmUp, there it is, and we will be getting that Nexus from Aud64 as well. I'm a little bit more on the ball than the players are. That's okay. They both had to float a little bit of cash to splash. Now, I like that the Vagrant has been moving around looking for another Mason that was stuck around here to rebuild the Watchdog, but that's not actually the case. For those who don't know, Aud64 didn't always play Protoss. He actually played Terran in Acropolis 3. That was the race that he almost beat HitEmUp in. Obviously, it was a TvT final game because HitEmUp was pulling random, and that was before we added the Escosi. So I think at that point he was still revealing his race because the game didn't do it automatically when we only had 3 races. I think he was still saying what race he rolled every time, and so that was pretty baller. That was a pretty baller win. Oh, thanks for pinging me, and I think also center viewing me. It must be a funny trigger from this particular version of the game where if you like move a unit over there, you get center viewed as a witness. Yeah, what the fuck? Why does that happen? Stop it, Biddy B. Don't center view my camera in the replay. Okay, we have the stockades, and they are on the way. We are going to see a scaled-up infantry production. No add-ons yet, so I wonder what he's actually going to be going for here. Is it just Cyprian Man? Right now, of course, he has 8 of them. Liftoff sequence initiated for that ministry, and we, of course, have the Nexus warping in now. We are going to get a gas cap over here as well, which is pretty neat, so we get the Sedent. And then, yeah, let's see what happens next. Okay, Ardent Authority on the way. Makes sense. So I guess what we're getting out of this more belabored early game, where both players just kind of scaling up. Ayud's recognized he doesn't really have an opportunity to move in there with his Kabbalist. That's what he wanted to see if he could get any damage dealt. Obviously, if the Terran army and base indeed looks very different if you went for like a 1 stockade expand or a 2 stockade expand. Instead, it was a 2 stockade Cestus, and now we got a Vestry out on after. So might end up seeing clerics. I was talking about armor increase. The medic equivalent in Cosmonarchy heals, of course, but it also it doesn't have energy, so it just heals indefinitely. And when it's healing, whatever unit it's healing is getting +2 armor. Or +1 armor, rather. So it's a pretty good benefit there as well to spike up how powerful the unit is. So definitely a good unit to include, and we do indeed see 2 of them start up immediately. Also, they don't cost Vespine, unlike in Starcraft 1. So very different kind of unit. I mean, the whole game is very different if you guys haven't figured that out by now. The Ardent Authority is building up. So this is a lower econ, lower action game, rather than what we're typically going to see. Also, a much weirder tech spread here from our Protoss than we typically see. Ayud does play it a little bit differently. I would not hate if he ended up going for a Cantor drop, which is our Reaver equivalent here. The embassy makes the Forge building is what makes the transport. Yeah, that makes sense. And then, of course, the Reaver equivalent here is made from this completely different structure. So, in case you were wondering. Also, the Cantor works completely differently to the Reaver, but that's okay. So it looks like with these 2 Watchdogs on the Extremists, we are going to have Artosis here. HitEmUp watching for any incoming transport. I think the reason for this is he probably noticed the Shimmer of the Witness, or he's just accounting for the fact that we could get a drop coming in. But when they make the Witness out of the Embassy, so the Observer equivalent also comes out of the Forge. There you go. And yeah, so he knows that there's going to be a transport available to Ayud. That's assuming he's watched that. If he's seen that, though, he probably would have considered lifting the Cestus and floating it over here, because when it's landed, it's actually a detector. So that's some trivia for you. Got 3 more stockades coming. And the Covenant add-on is complete. So now what we can actually see all of a sudden is Eidolons. The Ghost is indeed a very powerful unit in Cosmonarchy. So it looks like Ayud is going to be up against that pretty soon. The Cantor crawling past the Crucible. The Crucible empowers structures, so that white glow that we see over these structures indicates that they're producing faster. So Nexus trains workers faster. Grand Library trains Atriuses in this case faster. Any unit, including the Cantor. And buildings shoot faster if they're towers or whatever. So that's another cute little thing. They regenerate shields faster, all that kind of stuff. Now the Cantor is committing. He's going to have to unload because the Envoy is forfeit. But let's see how many workers he can actually get killed here. Looks like only 2 so far. Maybe trying to soften up some. But good pullback there from HitEmUp. He doesn't end up losing hardly any. Cleric body blocking the Cantor shot. And the Cyprians, yeah, they should be just fine. So the interception projectile is what you see there. Oh, he gets a fadeaway kill. Third frag. Nice. Triple kill. Well, that was obviously very expensive for Ayud, if you guys didn't expect that. But yeah, now we have 7 Eidolons coming. I think the tech has obviously been scouted here because, of course, the Witness was right there the whole time. But it's interesting to note that in this particular case, the Cantor gets pranked pretty heavily and then has to fall back, but the projectiles bomb out on whatever they come into contact with. They fly to their max weapon range before detonating, and if they hit another unit, if they come into contact with another unit, then they will be going kaboom. It's a triple Ardent build. I really like this approach from Ayud, but he's a little bit late to the game, it feels like. His third base is kind of behind the typical growth rate. He's got an Cantor in the middle of nowhere that's not going to get much of anything, just damages a Cleric that's obviously going to heal up and then kills a single Hurakan. Firebats in this game, the Hurakans, rend armor, so they're very, very good actually versus Protoss. Also delay their flash shield from kicking in. Some initial good connections, a Storm even from the Cantavis. We'd love to see that. The Storms are obviously going to be pretty good versus Bio. Oh yeah, this is exactly a picturesque reason why you wouldn't want to go Bio versus Protoss. But with the Storm continuing to do some damage, he's actually at the edge of its leash. So it's a little bit hard for him to make that happen. He's kind of trying to blanket around and move it around so that it can actually do damage to the Eidolons, which just melt like butter once you get rid of all the front line. So this looks like Ayud has narrowly beaten him back, but that was really, really close, and a very bloody battlefield afterwards, which I very much appreciate. Now, one big thing that he's going to run into problems with, how quickly can he reinforce when his reinforcements are fucking slugs, dude? The answer is not very quickly, in case you didn't know. And we will have, of course, some nice watches out here for any potential third base from the Kabbalist at 9 o'clock. No word on whether or not it's going to go to 6. That's where the Ministry was seemingly earmarked, because it's pretty close by to that. But right now he's just making workers with it. And, of course, behind this, as that Ministry actually cancels his Mason and moves over to those 6 o'clock. Vagrant starting up. He's going to go for that, adding more Cantavis, knowing that he might want that. Eidolons are pretty good versus that. You know, like you think Ghost versus High Templar is a StarCraft 2 thing, of course, but there's no feedback in this game the same way that Ghosts have it. So yeah, you got to consider it from the perspective of my Eidolon here can shoot, just use his shooty gun and shoot the vulnerable slow-moving unit, which is a little bit more intuitive than I look at them and they evaporate. That being said, the Ministry landed here at the 6 o'clock is going to provide Cosmonarchy Artosis, aka HitEmUp, with plenty more income in the long run. Of course, would still have ahead in terms of the economics. I like that he's adding a gateway to this base just in case he wants to like rally out some units to defend it real quick or whatever if a little run-by occurs. His witnesses have been trying to dog the Terran army a little bit, but admittedly there's no detection for it, so it does feel like since he has 2 with the army, he could definitely pinch one off and say, okay, I'm going to see what else is up over there. The Servitor gets shellacked. That's going to reveal the army off to the right-hand side. Leading with the Cantavis is a big mistake. Didn't even get a Hallucinate out, let alone a Storm. Now, the Acantors need to be focused on the Eidolons off to the right-hand side, and they can't focus on that when the Hurricans are running in to try to play dodgeball. Another Cantavis going down. It doesn't look like a Storm happened. Maybe a little bit here for softening up. Still, it does look like HitEmUp is going to have to falter. He does end up cycling back a few more shots at the end because the Acantors are out of sync now. Huracan trying to absorb as many of those shots as it can. They're going to dud right before they make connections. And now we actually have some over the ramp, over the bridge rather, that are going to make some good connections, clearing another Acantor. One thing about the Eidolon you guys may have noticed is that they have this wind-up. But if they haven't moved, if they haven't stopped their, canceled their setup, you can kind of think about it as them scoping in. They can shoot a lot more rapid fire than otherwise, right? They have this attack wind-up, but if they're already in wind-up and they haven't, even if they've killed the target, they don't typically have to reset. They only have to reset most of the time when they're switching places. As long as they don't have to turn too much or whatever. So, another Huracan goes down. That's a lot of potential connections onto those Eidolons in the back, even the splash damage adding up, but more Hurricans storming the front. And yeah, this particular flank from HitEmUp has actually been pretty good at clearing out a lot of the Acantors in the back, allowing the Striders to be dealt with without really losing too much in the way of the Eidolons. One little issue with the Cleric is that if there's no detection here, the Acantors can shoot the Cleric, and then the projectile will obviously deal damage to the Eidolon stack, so you're going to be in a world of pain there. And indeed, HitEmUp might already be in that world of pain. Just producing Huracan Eidolon for now. No tech scaling so far as we can tell. He just wants to win off of the large number of the Tier 1 composition. The Acantors continuing to crawl forward. They're going to force an evacuation of these workers, bringing it back into a slightly AUD-favored worker count, which, of course, HitEmUp's main macro strength is on display in this game, but obviously he has been heckled a lot, beaten back, and he's still just trying to slam out as many units as he can. 4 Eidolons, yeah, he's producing quite a bit. He needs to make sure that he keeps his gas income high because Eidolons are very gas-intensive units. Still want a Cantor here. A Cantavis arrives to maybe storm and soften up some of these Hurricans, but is it going to be quite enough? Yeah, it doesn't actually look like the Protoss army is going to be able to break the 6 o'clock position. He's going to need to falter back. Lost the Acantor, needs to evacuate the Cantavis and maybe consolidate his forces. Think about taking another base. A Scribe, idle in the top left natural. And of course another set of witnesses just guarding over here. Spying on it at the very least. And a Cantor drop earmarked for the natural is a good move. There's not really any units off to the side here. More units are coming in off the rally. Let's see how fast the reaction is from HitEmUp. He's already lost 1 Mason. Oh, that's a good bomb. Make it from 1 kill to 8 and make it 3 more. Yeah, he's chasing after him. It's a good move. We'll try to keep tabs on how many kills that unit has. Ooh, that was like 4 more on top, 5 more on top. So we're getting ridiculous value from Ayud. Unbelievable. He clears the whole thing. 25 kills. Outrageous work on that mineral line. And behind this, of course, it's worth pointing out the tech scaling. So the prostration stage is a tier 3 Protoss structure. You can think of the Ardent Authority as tier 2 for sure. The Synod is tier 4. But what is he going to make out of it? If it's going to be a bunch of analogs or something, that would actually make me very happy, but I'm wondering what Ayud plans on doing after that. Clearly, another round of a Cantor drops. You can only fit 1 in an Envoy, unlike 2 Reavers to a shuttle. So they are gated behind that a little bit more as a cost of them doing business with their empowered set of their empowered set of units, right? So you think about how the projectile is a lot more consistent. He's going to land 2 of them at 6 o'clock while the army is busy running around trying to secure 9. Will do so, but the Kabbalah stays at large. Excellent play from Ayud. His top left 4th base is being set up, about halfway complete. So a little bit slow on that, particularly given his float at the time. And now the unload comes out. Between these two, we're going to get a lot of value here. It's 8 worker kills and counting. HitEmUp has committed so many of his forces up to the top left. He'll at least quash the 4th and force a cancel, but he's lost the mineral line over here, only evacuating a paltry 7 workers. Ayud, are you actually going to unload that? Yes, indeed. He was watching for it. And the other one's going to try to chase after the workers. Gotta watch out for that. As 12 o'clock now under attack, the army very far forward. Ayud might have forced the issue. Look, I mean, you're playing base race against a player with liftoff, but is it going to work out for him? As his cantors are still loose in the base, sabotaging the economy. There's really not much going on mining-wise. So 12 o'clock gets cleared. HitEmUp knows he needs to move to the top right. We might have found a barn burner on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. Not a whole lot here to defend as the army syncs up with the cantors inside the main base, which have admittedly been quashed, except for one of 15 kills, and rejoin the rest of the army. Oh, HitEmUp's moving in for the jugular. He's trying to close it down. 29 HP on that gateway. That's a victory condition. Oh, the liftoff. It comes out indeed. He's actually abandoning ship. He knows what he needs to do here. He needs to go for the committal. He needs to go for the attack, and some reinforcements have come in from Ayud, but it's not clearly enough to actually break this position. We don't have any more cantors. He's trying to scramble what he can. Some units even stuck inside there, providing static defense from a unitary perspective, but the liftoff is good. Oh, the base race is very exciting indeed. Down goes the ministry there at the natural. He's only got the one at 6 o'clock and the treasury up here that's being attacked by a cantor. Synthetic Sidon was depowered before it can make its units. The Demiurge, a very powerful one, but not very good versus the Eidolons, it feels like. And well, HitEmUp is down to some of his last stands. His stockades are flooded to the top right. I don't know if he can actually break all of these units in time. He's got 1 Huracan left. And yeah, I mean, Eidolons, they aren't the greatest building killers, that's for sure. But he's down to what feels like the last straw, 14 military units. He needs to clear as many as he can without losing hardly any. Oh, he's softened up so much. Oh, he even loses 2 more on the way out, and the Herald comes in for more. There's never a GG where HitEmUp is concerned, but AN64 will take that in 17 minutes flat. What a ridiculous match, guys. I hope you guys have appreciated this just beautiful match that was served up here by our 2 players. Good to see Ayud strong as ever PvT. Of course, that was an interesting build order and composition there from HitEmUp as well. Something that feels very targeted against the, the Fast Cestus tells me he's very much targeted against the play from Kabbalist man over here. But Ayud got what he needed out of that, and I was a bit of a doubter for some of those fights, but turns out Bio might just not quite be strong enough to beat that style that Ayud brought. Leave us your thoughts in the comments. We'll be back for more Cosmonarchy soon. You want to donate to the Acropolis prize pool, you can do so through the streamlabs.com/pronogo link in the description. You can also jump on our coffee for that as well. That's it for me. GG. Tomorrow, another video.